Okay, excellent. Welcome everyone to our Honours Information webinar. My name's Anna Jenkins and I'm the current acting Honours Program Leader. And so I'm really happy to be here today to welcome you to this information session and give you a bit more insight into what the program looks like. Before I kick off with the actual overview, what I'd like to do is make an acknowledgement of country, that the University of Queensland acknowledges the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which we meet. We pay our respects to their ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country. We recognise their valuable contributions to Australian and global society. With me today, we've got Danielle, who studied honours back in 2018, and she's currently a Consumer Insights Manager at Carlton and United Breweries, and also Ira Shavista, who's a current student in our Bachelor of Business Management Honours program. They're going to join me at the end of the session to be able to answer some questions about the program and their experiences in it that you might have. So please send through those questions to the chat box as I go through a bit of an overview of the program, and also feel free to ask those right at the end. We've got closed captioning on today, so if you'd like to sort of stop that, you can turn that off by clicking the live transcripts button, and it will take you through the prompts to do that. If you experience any issues during or have any additional questions, feel free to shoot those through on the chat box. So I guess the big question is, why study an honours degree, and importantly, why study at UQ Business School? UQ Business School is a fantastic business school. It's classed as world-class across many of our research areas. We win many top grants, have researchers publishing in really top areas in their areas of expertise. And so what it means is you're getting really high class and high quality education coming through from world-leading experts. UQ Business School also has fantastic facilities through which you're able to sort of enjoy whilst being on campus. And I guess the next big question is then, why do an honours degree? An honours degree is slightly different to your undergraduate degree. It's a big step up in terms of developing your analytical skill sets. You get fantastic access to world-class databases and an opportunity to take your analytical skills one step further by taking on sort of harder courses where you're able to develop these skills further. You'll also have the opportunity to delve deep and enhance your knowledge in a particular area of expertise, whether it's in sort of a commerce area or a management area or a specific area that you've looked into more in your undergraduate degree. You get this fantastic opportunity to dig deeper into your thesis, as research is one of the big components of your honours degree. You spend half your time doing coursework and the other half working on a research project in your area that you've chosen through collaboration with a supervisor. You're in a very highly stimulating environment with really small classes. So you get lots of collaboration with each other and also with the lecturers who are facilitating the classes. So it's this fantastic small class environment, which is quite different to some of the larger classes you may have experienced during your undergraduate degree. One of the best parts that I found during my own honours experience, which was more than 20 years ago, was the connections and the friendships that I made during my honours year. I did honours in economics back at Adelaide University, and we spent our entire year pretty much always in our dedicated honours space, supporting and helping each other out. And from there, we've had one of my best friends from honours. She's just come in as the new CEO of the Productivity Commission. So it's fantastic seeing what happens from sort of over 20 years ago and the different careers my friends have been able to forge over time from this really fantastic 1 year that we had together, and the friendships that we've been able to maintain over the last 20 years. Cool. And I guess the other big part is, if you're coming towards the end of your 3-year degree, why do this extra year of study? Why pursue sort of this major or this extra research pathway moving forward? And I think one of the really critical parts is you get this opportunity for better job opportunities. You're developing in-depth analytical skills, you're increasing your ability to do different types of research methods, and in particular, it's these advanced analytical skills that will set you apart from other job candidates. In particular, some investment banks and some institutions will prefer and recruit from an honours cohort because of this in-depth and extra analytical skills that have been developed through the program. Importantly, during the year, because 50% of your grade and your time is really spent working on your honours thesis. And this is a chance where you'll work one-on-one with an academic on a topic that you sort of co-choose together. You get a chance to really dig deep into an area that you want to build your own expertise in, and then you get to work really closely with one of the academics at the business school. This often is like a fortnightly meeting in your first semester, and then often a weekly meeting as the thesis builds up in the second semester. So you get very hands-on help from an expert to help you develop your research skills in an area of your choosing. Importantly, it's also a pathway into a PhD program. You have a sufficient amount of research expertise and experience to be able to use that as an entry pathway into a PhD program. I was really lucky. I did my PhD in Sweden, and my honours year not only counted for me to be able to enter into the program, but the coursework that I did in honours was also counted towards my PhD program coursework. So it's a fantastic pathway to be able to take that research component, build on it, and build on that expertise through into a PhD program. Importantly, there's also financial support through HEX and HELP, and also there's many scholarship opportunities for our honours cohort. So it's really important to double check what those scholarship opportunities are and get prepared to apply for them. Because it's a small cohort, there's a greater chance of you being able to apply and win a scholarship. So there's over 550 scholarships available for prospective and current students, and this is the link down below. Will help you navigate to where those scholarships are and sort of work out which ones that you qualify for, so you're able to apply for them. How the honours program is structured is it's 16 units in total. In first semester, you'll do 6 units of coursework and 2 units of your research thesis. So most of your time is spent doing coursework, developing your analytical skills, and getting sort of the baseline that you need to help support you in that research process. So this coursework is designed to give you the skills and the analytical skills that you will need to conduct your independent research. And in that first semester, the 2 units of your research thesis is very much around identifying your topic, working closely with your supervisor to refine it, getting a start on your literature review, so the type of the knowledge or the body of work that you're wanting to expand and understand further. And at the end of this first semester, you pitch your initial idea for your research thesis. And in the second semester, the emphasis flips around and you spend 2 units doing a coursework and 6 units working on your research thesis. So it's in this second semester where you really amp up the time that you're working independently and closely with an expert in your field. And what I found in particular in this time, it's when the friendships that you've forged in first semester will really help you and put you in a good place in second semester when you're actively trying to build out your research thesis. So how the program is structured is very similar across the different programs. Very much, as I said, the 6 unit coursework and the 2 unit research thesis, also for the Bachelor of Advanced Business and Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics. So you have a very similar structure to your research program, and you can check in more detail on the links provided. So your research thesis forms a really big part of your honours degree, and it's your chance to address a significant issue or problem and so delve out this original research project. So it's your chance to take something that you may have learned in your undergraduate degree, something that inspires you from looking at the type of research academics are currently doing, something that you've experienced in that undergraduate work or a theory or something that you'd really like to delve deeper into. You get to actually work on your own research project throughout the honours year. And importantly, you work under the guidance of a supervisor. So that supervisor will help you in the process of scoping out a really interesting research problem that you can take further. Your choice of topic, often you get to work on something you're really interested in, and it's great if you can find that match between what you're interested in and a supervisor that has the expertise in that topic. So often it's a process of thinking about what really interests me, and then also having a look at what are the topics that the academics that you're working with through your honours degree, you might have met during your undergraduate degree, what are the topics that they're really interested in, and finding a good fit between your research interests and what they're able to supervise you in. If you want to find more details of what honours theses look like, you can visit UQ eSpace and search for honours thesis and try and find examples of students' work to really get a sense of what are you aiming for, what does an honours thesis look like, and what are some of the potential research questions that students in the past have answered. The honours thesis, it feels like a really big document of 20,000 words, sort of 100 pages, but it's something that you work on throughout the year and feel really proud of at the end, that you've completed this really substantial piece of research that you've driven and written yourself. So you have this 20,000 word thesis that you submit towards the end of second semester, and an oral presentation that you do at the end of first semester, which is really setting up what you're planning on researching in the thesis. So if you want to get a head start on thinking about your honours year and what you could potentially research, one of the best ways to do that is browse the different academic profiles of the academics in your area that you're really interested in. See what are the research projects they're currently working on. It can be great to enter into a research team that's already got an ongoing research project that you're able to help and build on. It'll mean that you're working closely with someone who's really engaged in the research that you're doing, and you're able to kind of be part of a team as you work independently on your research topic. You don't have to do this, but it's certainly encouraged. So in terms of the process of finding a supervisor, is this kind of looking for who are potential supervisors, what are the potential topics that they're interested in supervising, and really trying to find a good fit. And in this process, you'll finalise what's your research question, what are your potential hypotheses or areas that you're keen to investigate. You'll then work with them to design the research method and collect data. And this could be in the form of using existing data where you build out the data set yourself. You might be using existing data that your supervisor may have already collected, or you may have the opportunity to actually create your own data set by designing a survey and asking a relevant sample or population to fill it in, or doing a qualitative study where you go out and interview potential respondents to get more insight into their experiences. So there's lots of different ways to think about in terms of what your research design is and the data you collect. And through that process, that's where your supervisor will help you in this sort of identifying the research question, designing the method, collecting data, and then you get the chance, once you have your data, is to spend time doing empirical analysis. And this is where the coursework that you're doing will support you in terms of making sure you've got the analytical techniques that you need to analyze the data you've collected, and you'll do this with support of your supervisor. And what's really critical throughout this process is you're working on actually writing up that big document. And this is where both through your support from the supervisor and the support of your coursework will give you the guidance you need to be able to write up the honours thesis. There's lots of great topics you can choose from across the different disciplines we have at UQ. I'm currently in the strategy and entrepreneurship discipline and work a lot in entrepreneurship research. So the types of research questions I've had students look at in a thesis-like project is things like, what does success mean to entrepreneurs? I've had them analyse the linguistic strategies they use when they pitch, looking at how they evaluate their own startups and how do they talk about evaluation and how do they actually go out and raise investment. There's fantastic topics across the other disciplines, things in tourism about motivations around ecotourism. There's a lot of work done around sustainability within tourism. In finance, there's a whole lot of different cool topics around short selling. A lot more is coming in around sustainable finance and what does that look like. In marketing, a lot of students are doing different kind of cool experiments to look at consumer engagement. So there's a lot of different research areas you can choose on depending on which discipline you're keen to sort of further your research skills and analytical skills in. In terms of resources for honours students, There's potential employment and internship opportunities. So we see a lot of honours students who are in more the management area often might tutor in our Introduction to Management course. So depending on your area of expertise and interest, there's potential tutoring opportunities available. And there's also sometimes potential internship opportunities or summer research opportunities. And these are sort of subject to availability. There's research seminars that are run across the disciplines that you're able to attend and participate in. And what's great about these is you'll see research in progress, people representing their research topics, and get a bit more insight into how research is presented, and also what does it look like when it's still work in progress, just like your honours thesis is during the year. And I think what's really fantastic, and it made a huge difference when I went through honours, is having a dedicated facilities. You have your own area underneath the Colin Clark building with computers set up that you're able to access and use. And it means not only do you have a computer space you're always able to access, but you also have a space for your cohort to come together and support each other through the honours year. In terms of career outcomes, this is where, as I spoke earlier, there's often really fantastic career outcomes for students with an honours degree because of that advanced analytical skills that you develop and those advanced research skills that you've developed through the year. It means you're high in demand with employers. You also open up these avenues to qualify for PhD programs. So from my cohort, 3 of us went on to do PhD programs. I went to Sweden, another one of my peers went to the US, and another stayed in Australia. And I think from the UQ PhD program, we've had students successfully obtain very high in demand scholarships in Singapore. But it's a great starting point to have the thesis to be able to qualify for those PhD programs. In terms of how your honours grade is calculated, this is sort of how you take your GPA and think about what class of honours you will achieve. So a 6.2 to 7 gives you a class 1 GPA, and then you can see how sort of the GPA relates to different class of honours degrees. If you're doing Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics in the honours or the Bachelor of Advanced Business, your grades will be, or your class of honours is calculated slightly differently. So have a look at your sort of relevant program information to double check that. In terms of your admission requirements, you need a GPA of 5.5 or above in your undergraduate studies. For the Bachelor of Business Management Honours, you need to have completed a Bachelor of Business Management, Bachelor of Tourism and Hotel Management or equivalent. For Bachelor of Commerce Honours, you need to have completion of a Bachelor of Commerce degree or equivalent, and then you can apply for these programs at the link below. In terms of the entry requirements for the Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics Honours, it's also the 5.5 GPA or above for your core courses and a completion of 48 units of the program. For the finance major, entry requires a minimum of 5 in the following subjects that you can see there, and an economics major requires an entry of a minimum of 5 in the subjects that you can see up on the slide. Third year students will be contacted close to the release of the semester 2 2024 grades about these kind of possibilities. For the Bachelor of Advanced Business Honours, the research pathway entry requirement is your cumulative GPA of 5.5 for the first 40 units of your studies. And again, third year students will be contacted in their first semester for applications to the research program. A few important dates to make sure you take note of. For semester 2 2024 commencement, the applications close on the 31st of May for international and the 30th of June for domestic students, and then you'll start on the 22nd of July in 2024. For semester 1 next year in 2025, your applications close on the 30th of November for international and the 31st of January for domestic students, with a commencement date of the 24th of February in 2025. For Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics Honours and the Bachelor of Advanced Business Honours, please make sure you sort of follow the application details outlined in the call for applications email that you'll receive from faculty. What I'd really like to do now is stop talking about the program and make sure you get some insight from people who are currently studying it and have been through it. So I'm really excited now to welcome Ira and Danielle to the panel.
Hey,
Awesome. Hi, Ira. You're currently in the middle of studying your honours degree. I was wondering, do you want to tell me a little bit first about what's been the best part about doing honours?
Um, I would say that it is interesting in the fact that I get to dive very deep into a topic that is of interest. I have my topic is relating to the success and failure factors of international joint ventures, and because I've studied my major was international business, I'm looking into digital firms and in that area specifically. I think the most fun thing is that if you find something that you're passionate about and you get to spend all your time just reading about it and working on it and actually adding to the knowledge in that field, that is something that keeps you keeps you driven to keep working.
Awesome. Danielle, do you want to maybe share also what was your favourite part of the honours program, and then maybe talk a little bit to how you've used potentially your honours degree now in your career?
Yeah, for sure. I think the favorite part for me is probably just the amount of different people that I met across the year. And obviously, throughout doing just an undergraduate degree, you meet a lot of people as well from different backgrounds. But I just felt in particular in my honours year, we're kind of thrust into a class with different postgraduate students, and they come from maybe working across a corporate career for many years, and students who had maybe done different backgrounds to myself. So I think for me, it was just exciting to learn their point of view on different things. It just kind of helps you kind of build your experience as a person, and you can really take that with you kind of going into a corporate career as well. But not only the students, but the researchers as well. Like, I was very lucky that I actually had two supervisors for my thesis. So I got a huge amount of background and kind of learnings from them. So I was very blessed in that respect. But I think in terms of key skills for me that I've kind of taken into my career, there's probably two that come to mind. I think the first one would be, obviously, like I kind of just talked to with the stakeholder piece, is just learning to work with that variety of different people is so important in the corporate world. Like a lot of my job in commercial at CUB is, just working with people and managing projects, and that is so important to be able to do that. And I think kind of very closely aligned to that is that project management piece. Obviously in the honours program, I kind of had to work on or self-drive a project for 6 to 12 months. And again, like that is something that is just my day-to-day now. So it really kind of helped bridge that gap for me.
Well, awesome. What I would like to do is potentially open up questions from the floor. If people who are listening in would like to either raise their hand to be able to ask a question or shoot it through on the chat, I'm happy to sort of open it up and ask the question as well. Jackie, you've got one? If you want to add?
Yeah, there's a few questions in there, so maybe you would like to answer this
Brilliant.
one. Um, will the school help to narrow down a suitable topic if they can't think of one that's relevant to their studies?
Yes, for sure. I think there's both this balance between some students come with an idea that they really, really want to study, and it becomes a matter of helping them refine that research question, find a fit with a supervisor that can support them. But on the other hand, you also, and I was in the same position both for my honours thesis, for my PhD topic, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to research. I knew I really liked research, but I wasn't actually sure what would be a good topic, what makes a good honours thesis topic. And so that's when the academics in your field that you're interested in can also pitch different research questions to you. So one of the students I'm supervising this semester was interested in startups and finance, but wasn't really sure what potentially to look at. So one is working on a big data set we've collected previously around entrepreneurs talking over time, how they evaluate their startup, how they raised money, what was the evaluation at that time. And he spent his thesis time really analysing how entrepreneurs evaluate their own startups and the heuristics they use. And another student, really similar, very much also interested in finance, building out data sets. So he's looking a lot more around biotech, pharmaceutical companies, and the different aspects around their raising, how long it takes them to raise, how much do they raise, and what does it mean for the type of exit. And for both those students, they came with a general interest, And it was through conversation and understanding more about what their research interests are, we could then carve out a really cool research question for each of them. So it's a bit of a two-way street. You can come with things you're really interested in working on, but be really mindful the academics will be able to help you narrow that down to a feasible research question. So go through that pathway with them back and forth. Or you can kind of come saying, these are the general topics I'm interested in, and they'll be able to sort of pitch different potential ideas that they think would be feasible for you. So it's a bit of both in terms of identifying a research question, but certainly many people would be happy then to share potential topics. So you don't have to come knowing exactly what you want to do. Is that a similar
Okay.
experience, Danielle and Ira, that you guys had in terms of identifying your research question?
Yeah, I would agree. I think I kind of came into the program knowing my rough area of what I was interested in, but then I think kind of meeting with my supervisors, they were able to definitely help me define that. But I absolutely felt kind of no pressure to stick with that, and there were multiple other options kind of thrown at me as well. So yeah, I think it's a great setup in that you can kind of have it both ways.
Yeah, how
Yeah,
did you
mine.
come up with your question? Yeah.
For mine, I was actually thinking when I first started with my thesis planning, I was thinking of something very different. I did a bit of like background research, and once I spoke to my supervisor, it was it was a difficult moment when he said it's like, yeah, well, there's not actually much scope for research in this field, so you might want to pivot into a different direction. Um, it felt at that point being like, wait, I just spent 4 weeks researching on this, but then you realize that there's actually no capabilities, there's not much you can do with that subject. So that is something I thought was like one of the most important things I learned, that what it's a hard truth that whatever you come prepared with may not work, but there are your supervisors are there to help you actually provide knowledge into the world, because that's what your research is aiming to do. So may not be exactly what you want, but definitely you still have that freedom to pick something that you are passionate about. You're not going to be forced to do something that you're not interested in or has nothing to do with you. So yeah.
Anna, if I just say that the next two questions are quite relevant to what all three of you have spoken about. But in terms of choosing a topic and a field of, what topic is related to the field you're wanting to do, can you switch it up where you've done something different in your undergrad degree? Say, for example, in information systems, but now you would like to write your thesis on finance. So there are two similar questions along this line from two of our attendees. So could you answer to that?
Yes, for sure. I think sometimes taking it a step too far, if you haven't done anything in finance and then you want to write in finance, might be a sort of a bridge too far to step. So I think what's really important is to look at what's your foundational knowledge and skill set you're bringing in, which are the electives that you're sort of selecting during to support your thesis writing in your coursework, and then working out what sort of topic then becomes suitable. So it's certainly not a clear-cut yes or no. I think it's sort of thinking about if you've done a sort of, you want to still stay within the disciplines of Bachelor of Business Management and follow through on what are the potential sort of subject areas that relates to management, and same thing with commerce when thinking about sort of accounting and finance pathways. And I think that's probably where also talking with the student admin team becomes important, to have a look at making sure your honours pathway you meet the entry requirements for the specific honours degree that you want to take, and looking at the disciplines within that honours degree from which you can sort of select among. But I think if it's within a management, if you're doing the Bachelor of Business Management and then selecting is from within the disciplines within that management honours degree, sort of becomes sort of your option and your pathways. But it's not that you did marketing as a major and you must do a marketing thesis, but it is very much making sure you've got an interest in the topic and supervisors that can also see the feasibility of that topic. So I don't know how well that exactly answers the question, because I think it depends on how much of a bigger leap that you're taking from your undergrad degree. But I think it's also something, the student admin team, Jackie, yourself, is also in a really good position to look at in detail what the undergraduate degree is in, and then which honours degree does that open up and lead to.
Next question, Anna, if you still can't see the Q&A, from Nandan. I wanted to ask about the career prospects and maybe if you have found any big difference also to Danielle in things like pay and progression when comparing a business bachelor's degree and an honors degree.
Danielle, maybe I'll sort of hand this one to you first off to sort of show what was your experience on the job market coming out with an honours degree and how it sort of set you up.
Yeah, for sure. So I was really lucky that I kind of secured my job midway kind of through my degree. But I think for me, and you know, I've worked in consumer insights, which is obviously my time in honours was so important. I cannot stress that enough. I don't think I would have got that job within CV without doing an honours degree, just having that research background. But I think just the level of analytical, like you've kind of talked to, analytical skills, but also critical thinking that I was able to gain from this extra year that I probably didn't have when I started the honours degree. I think that just set me kind of above and beyond the people I was competing against for a job. The kind of process of going through graduate kind of interviews and employment is obviously super competitive. You have so many kind of people fighting for a spot. I think just any bit of leg up that you can give yourself just, you know, really makes the difference. So I think it just kind of put an extra line on my resume, I suppose, and set me apart from the competition.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's probably one of the parts where doing and driving your own research project gives you a lot of things that you couldn't talk to in a job sort of interview setting in terms of the skills that you developed. And I think importantly, that project management skills and your ability to take ownership and drive a project forward are these really critical skills that you're developing through honours, which becomes highly valuable. Especially for jobs which require that additional analytical skills and thinking, which often tend to be more, I think, more fun. And then, but the challenge and the analytical skills then can also be, retract a better salary as well.
Yeah.
Ira, have you started work doing job interviews yet, or thinking about the roles that you might like to have post honours?
I have a bit of an idea that I do want to end up in consulting. That's what I've planned since I started the degree. Haven't really had the time to look at job applications at this point because I am working, like you said earlier. It's an opportunity for you to teach. So I do teach. I'm a tutor for Introduction to Management. And along with that, with the other subjects and the coursework, I have not had the time to look at jobs, but definitely I do have my plan on where I want to work. I'm building up my resume, which is something that, as being a UQ student itself, you have amazing access to amazing resources. But I do agree that the insights and the learning that I'm gonna get from this process when I sit for an interview, or even just in the abstract part of my resume, that itself can help me step a little ahead than the others that are also applying for that same job, which is one of my greatest motivations of actually applying for this project. But yeah, that is something that is definitely something to keep in mind in terms of what exactly I want to work in.
Awesome. I think now I see one more question come through from Scarlett in terms of how do you find the workload compares to undergraduate? Maybe if you want to kick off on that one, Ira, now that you're up on screen.
I think the biggest thing is manage your time. If you pick up a job, like for me, if I'll give an example of this Introduction to Management, it's essentially doing like 5 subjects because you have to prepare for the job as well, and then you have got your coursework and your thesis. It's very easy to lose track of your thesis because you've got assignments for the other coursework modules. So it's really important to keep yourself paced up. Like every week, I'm going to do a bit of my thesis work, a bit of the literature review. That way, you're not going to fall behind and be essentially dying over the holidays during your data collection or trying to get your proposal ready, because that's where I am right now, where I'm trying to figure out how to get my proposal done in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, so the best thing, an advice I got from my supervisor was go back to how you were in primary school, where every hour of your day was planned out. In that way, you're kind of making sure that what you need to get done gets done within that day and it's all planned out. That is a tip that he gave me, and I live by it at this point.
Good tip. Danielle, how did you find it compared to undergraduate?
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that Era just said. Like, I think, and this kind of goes back to that piece around that project management skill that I think you pick up through this, like being able to own your own workload and drive that, knowing that you're working on a project for 6 to 12 months is so important. Like, realistically, you're not going to go into a job and just be able to complete things last minute. Like, you have to pick up the skill eventually, even if you're going on to do a PhD, right? Like, can't do your PhD and the last 6 months of a 4-year program. So I think it kind of comes down to that as well, the ability to self-manage and drive something through from end to end. But yeah, it's definitely it is a hard program, but I think because you are so immersed in this topic and you are so passionate about it, it means that you do put in the extra hours for a topic because it's actually generally, it is interesting and you really do enjoy the work. So yes, it was hard, it was a lot of work, but at the same time, when you're really enjoying what you do, I feel like the year flew by for me. So yeah, I can't say that it didn't go quick enough at all.
Yeah, I mean, I did my honours degree now over 25 years ago, just about, and I still think about it as the most intense year of my life in terms of the learning and the coursework, but also one of the most amazing years in terms of what you achieve, what you get done, what you learn. And I remember when we spent hours in our honours room each weekday till really late, so many times on difficult subjects, would be studying together. It became a real team effort to be able to get to learn some. I did stuff in maths and it was like the hardest thing I'd ever done. And it was kind of really a group effort to kind of work out, how do we solve these problems? How do we work it out? So I think whilst it is a huge step up to a certain extent, it is a big commitment. It's also a really fantastic one because you're in it with your peers and you go through the experience together, and then you come out with a piece of work that's yours and your own, that you've written, that you've driven. And I think that's a big difference from undergrad, where you're sort of writing the assignments that the lecturer has set for you. And in an honours degree, you're scoping out your own research problem that you, as I think you sort of said, Danielle, quite a bit, you've owned and you've driven it, and you can be really proud at the end. So it certainly is a step up in the workload, but I also think it's a really rewarding step up as well. So one of the questions here is, do you need to commence your honours year immediately after you've graduated from the undergraduate program, or you can defer? I think this is one where you can defer. Jackie?
So if you've just finished your undergraduate degree, you have up until 2 years to commence an honours. Well, the BBASMAN honours and the Bachelor of Commerce honours at the University of Queensland.
Awesome, thank you. Is there a benefit to doing honours rather than a master's degree? I think in here, these are two quite separate degrees. When you've got an honours degree, it's very much taking what you've learnt in your undergraduate degree and taking it a step further and really building up those analytical skills and delving deeper into an area of research. So it's very much an extension of what you've done in your undergraduate degree, and it's a step up in terms of the development of the analytical skills. Whereas a master's degree is very much a coursework master's, and it's used for people often who don't have that undergraduate degree in a sort of a business or management commerce background, and it gives them those foundational skills. So they're quite different in terms of what you learn in the degree, and what honours will set you up for is that analytical skills and the research pathway, whereas most of the master's degrees we have are very much around learning business sort of, and what you'd cover in an undergraduate degree, but it's kind of for transferring from different degrees. So they're quite different sort of programs. Jackie, do you want to add?
No, that's definitely it. So an honours program is an extension of what you did previously in your undergraduate degree, whereas a master's degree is more designed to, change that field, change what you studied, change the direction of what you studied in your previous degree.
Awesome.
There's another one, Anna. How does an honours degree compare to an MPhil degree if headed towards a PhD? So this one will be good for you.
Yeah, so this is also, so MPhil is then different again from a general master's degree, and it has a little bit actually more of an overlap with an honours degree than it would with a traditional master's degree. So an MPhil is often used if you haven't done honours as an entry pathway into a PhD program. It also has coursework that delves you deeper, similar to honours, in terms of building out your analytical skills. And it also has the research pathway built into the MPhil. And so it's something often students might do an MPhil later on if they haven't done an honours degree, to ensure they've got that entry pathway into a PhD program, because either it can graduate with an MPhil or it can be used as a stepping stone into a PhD program, and a student can make the switch during their MPhil into a PhD program if they meet certain requirements. So an MPhil is much more of a research-based degree rather than a coursework-based degree.
I'm not too sure, Anna, if you answered this one. Does doing an honours degree fast track you to higher level graduate jobs?
Yeah, often it depends on the employer, but for sure, I think it's setting you up, because we've said many times those analytical skills, it's setting you up with that additional extra year. And it's quite different from what you do in an undergraduate degree because of the emphasis on your analytical skills. So it can potentially sort of set you up for different types of roles in organisations which require that additional analytical skills, that ability to run sort of teams, projects, where you build and leverage those skills that you've learned during honours.
There's a last question here. Would we be able to do a work integrated learning or internship project during our honours program, or is it purely coursework and thesis during the whole year? Now, our Bachelor of Advanced Business Honours and our Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics Honours is different to our Bachelor of Business Management Honours and Bachelor of Commerce Honours. So, Chrissa, would you like to speak on the BAB and the BAPE side?
Yeah, definitely. So you can do, I guess, a work integrated learning course within both the Advanced Finance and Economics Honours and Advanced Business. Would I recommend it within your final year doing your thesis? Maybe not. Maybe you could do it in your penultimate year. You can still enrol in that ARBA's 4999 course within your semester. You can still do it. I guess in your final year, but then you need to know that you are, I guess, juggling a course that does have that, I guess, work integrated learning, where you are out in the field doing the doing work, and yeah, it'll be very busy. So you can definitely try and do it within your penultimate year within those two programs.
And in terms of the Bachelor of Business Management and Bachelor of Commerce honours, we don't really have space in those two honours programs for replacement, because you're purely coming in for 2 semesters and you're working to submit that thesis in your second semester.
Awesome. What I'd really love to do is thank Danielle and Ira for spending their time today to share their experiences and their insights from their honours year and their sort of partway through the honours year. Really appreciate the time you guys have taken to share your experiences. And it's fantastic to kind of hear how much you're using what you've learnt, Danielle, sort of in your current degree. So thank you everyone for joining, and please apply today with the link that you can see up on the screen.